Imagine the heavy weight of intelligence crashing down on you like a storm. A chilling realization that the deeper you think, the more isolated you become. A truth that twists your gut with anxiety and leaves your heart racing with dread. Arthur Schopenhauer's piercing philosophy brands intelligence as a curse, a lonely beacon illuminating truths others flee from. And as you read his words, a shiver of recognition runs through you. Society doesn't just shy away, it recoils, fearing the mirror you hold up, reflecting their own unexamined lives. That mirror effect hits hard. Your mind buzzes with unease as you see yourself in the story, a deep thinker standing apart, your insights stirring discomfort in others. The more you grasp life's complexities, the more your chest tightens with the sting of rejection, a silent ache as blank stares or awkward silences greet your profound thoughts. Schopenhauer's brutal honesty resonates, igniting a mix of pride and despair. Pride in your clarity, despair in your solitude. You feel the tension of admiration tinged with envy from those around you, their unease a palpable force that makes your breath catch. This isn't just theory, it's your lived experience, a haunting echo of being misunderstood, your brilliance a double-edged sword cutting you off from the warmth of connection. As you reflect, a wave of anxious hope rises. Can this isolation, this curse, also be a path to something greater, a strength forged in the crucible of your own mind? As you delve into the psychological resistance to deep thinking, a cold wave of anxiety washes over you, your pulse quickening with the realization that your intellect triggers a primal fear in others, a fear mirrored in your own racing thoughts. Schopenhauer's insight that intelligence challenges identity feels like a spotlight exposing your vulnerabilities, and the mirror effect stabs at your chest, reflecting your own limitations back through others' discomfort. Psychologists' findings, cognitive biases like Dunning-Kruger, status quo, and backfire effect, hit home, leaving you with a sinking dread as you recognize your ideas being dismissed, your voice stifled by a society clinging to familiarity. The neuroscience revelation that your depth activates the amygdala like facing a threat sends a shiver down your spine, amplifying your isolation with every blank stare or defensive retort you've endured. Seeing yourself in this story, you feel a mix of frustration and empathy. Frustration at the unfair rejection, empathy for those too scared to engage, your mind swirling with the tension of belonging versus standing out. The tribal evolution angle, where acceptance trumped intellect for survival, tightens your throat with the weight of being an outsider. Yet a flicker of pride emerges, knowing your thoughts disrupt that balance. This emotional whirlwind, anxiety, rejection, and a quiet resolve, mirrors your struggle, urging you to navigate this resistance with courage, even as the fear of being misunderstood gnaws at your core, pushing you to seek a way forward despite the odds. As you immerse yourself in the saga of historical and modern rejection of deep thinkers, a knot of anxiety tightens in your stomach, your breath catching as you trace the footsteps of Socrates, Galileo, Nietzsche, and Tesla. Brilliant minds silenced or scorned, their stories echoing with a haunting familiarity. The image of Socrates drinking poison, Galileo under house arrest, Nietzsche dismissed as mad, and Tesla dying in obscurity sends a shiver of dread down your spine, each tale a mirror to your own moments of ridicule or dismissal. Seeing yourself in their struggle, a surge of frustration mingles with a pang of pride. Frustration at society's blindness, pride in their unwavering truth-seeking, now your own. The modern twist, with social media favoring shallow viral content over your nuanced thoughts, twists the knife deeper, your heart racing with the fear of being ignored amid the noise. Institutions, schools punishing curiosity, workplaces rewarding conformity, politics shunning logic, feel like personal betrayals, stirring a restless unease as you recognize the pattern in your life. The posthumous praise of Van Gogh and Turing, once outcasts like you, ignites a bittersweet hope, your chest swelling with determination to persevere despite the sting of rejection. This emotional roller coaster, anxiety over isolation, anger at resistance, and a quiet resolve to push forward, reflects your journey, urging you to embrace your role as a disruptor, even as the weight of history's silence presses against your resolve, whispering that your time too may come. Reading Schopenhauer's philosophy on the will to live, a heavy wave of anxiety crashes over you, your heart pounding as you feel the suffocating grip of a society driven by pleasure and comfort, a world where your deeper truths are drowned out. His stark contrast between the masses' blind pursuit of survival and you, reading Schopenhauer's philosophy on the will to live, a heavy wave of anxiety crashes over you, your heart pounding as you feel the suffocating grip of a society driven by pleasure and comfort, a world where your deeper truths are drowned out. His stark contrast between the masses' blind pursuit of survival and your own will to truth strikes a raw nerve, leaving you breathless with the realization of your isolation. Seeing yourself in this story, a deep thinker craving authenticity, your stomach churns with dread. You felt the boredom of small talk, the disconnect of status games, the polite dishonesty that suffocates your desire for meaningful connection. Schopenhauer's claim that intelligence makes happiness elusive sends a shiver through you, a mix of fear and recognition as you recall your own disillusionment with society's shallow pursuits. The weight of seeing through its illusions pressing on your chest. The more you understand life's flaws, the lonelier you feel, a quiet despair creeping in as you grapple with the curse of awareness, your mind buzzing with existential questions others avoid. Yet beneath this anxiety, a flicker of defiance sparks, a resolve to seek truth despite the cost, your heart swelling with a bittersweet pride in your clarity. This emotional storm, dread, isolation, and a defiant hope mirrors your struggle, urging you to embrace your unique perspective, even as the fear of disconnection gnaws at you, whispering doubts about ever finding your place. As you absorb Schopenhauer's solutions for deep thinkers, a flutter of anxious hope stirs within you, your mind racing with the possibility of turning isolation into strength, yet trembling at the thought of embracing solitude. His call to view solitude as a privilege rather than a punishment resonates deeply, filling you with a nervous excitement as you imagine channeling your loneliness into creative pursuits, your heart pounding with the thrill of intellectual freedom. Seeing yourself in this story, a deep thinker craving connection, a wave of relief washes over you when he suggests seeking like-minded souls through books or intellectual circles, easing the ache of rejection you felt in shallow conversations. The advice to share insights wisely with those ready to listen sparks a mix of pride and apprehension. Pride in your depth, anxiety about misjudgment, your palms sweating as you picture navigating society's resistance. Schopenhauer's wisdom to simplify complex ideas, echoing Einstein's guidance, ignites a surge of determination, though fear lingers that you might dilute your truth. This emotional whirlwind, nervous hope, relief, pride, and cautious resolve, mirrors your journey, reflecting moments you felt misunderstood yet yearned to contribute. The idea of turning your curse into creative power sends a shiver of anticipation through you, your chest tightening with the challenge, yet swelling with a quiet courage to persevere. It urges you to step boldly into your role, despite the anxiety of standing apart, embracing your unique voice as a beacon for others who think deeply. As you confront Schopenhauer's revelation about society's preference for comfort over truth, a wave of anxious unease grips you, your breath quickening as you realize how deeply this shapes your world. A world where cognitive ease lulls people into simplicity, leaving you isolated for craving depth. The idea that cognitive ease, system justification, and groupthink prioritize familiarity over challenging ideas sends a shiver down your spine, your heart sinking as you recognize the resistance you've faced in casual conversations or online debates. Seeing yourself in this story, a deep thinker pushing against the tide, a surge of frustration wells up. Frustration at the echo chambers of social media that drown out your nuanced thoughts with viral noise, your palms sweating with the fear of being perpetually misunderstood. The knowledge that algorithms favor shallow engagement over intellectual discourse tightens your chest, a mix of anger and resignation as you recall your ideas being sidelined for catchy soundbites. Yet beneath this anxiety, a flicker of defiant hope emerges, your spirit lifting with the realization that deep thinkers like you, though rejected now, have historically driven progress. Your eyes stinging with pride at the legacy of Socrates or Galileo. This emotional storm, unease, frustration, anger, and hopeful resolve, mirrors your struggle, urging you to persist despite society's comfort-seeking. Your mind racing with the challenge to carve a space for truth, even as the weight of rejection presses against your resolve to stand apart. As you absorb the profound impact of deep thinkers and Schopenhauer's call to action, a tremor of anxious excitement courses through you, your heart pounding with the weight of realizing your intellectual depth could shape humanity's future, yet trembling at the isolation it might bring. The assurance that deep thinkers aren't doomed to loneliness, but must navigate society wisely, ignites a spark of hopeful determination, your chest tightening with the fear of missteps as you see yourself in this story. A thinker yearning to connect yet often pushed aside. A surge of pride swells within you, your eyes misting with emotion, as you recognize your kinship with history's outcasts like Socrates and Turing, their posthumous acclaim fueling a quiet resolve to persevere despite rejection's sting. The invitation to embrace your thoughts, seek like-minded souls, and share thoughtfully sends a shiver of anticipation down your spine. Your mind racing with anxiety about finding the right audience, yet buoyed by the promise of contributing to progress. This emotional tapestry, excited anxiety, hopeful pride, and determined resolve, mirrors your journey, reflecting moments of isolation softened by the belief that your ideas, though resisted now, could inspire change. The challenge to step boldly into your role, despite the fear of standing alone, stirs a restless courage, your spirit lifting with the vision of a world enriched by your depth, urging you to act with conviction and connect with others who dare to think deeply, transforming isolation into a powerful legacy. In 2025, as social media algorithms tighten their grip, amplifying shallow trends and echo chambers, Schopenhauer's warning about society's resistance to deep thinkers feels more urgent than ever. You might find yourself, a reflective soul, increasingly isolated amidst AI-driven content that prioritizes viral outrage over nuance, your thoughtful ideas drowned out by the noise. The mirror effect Schopenhauer described, where your depth reflects others' limitations, could intensify in virtual spaces, leaving you anxious as likes and shares favor simplicity, not truth. With remote work and digital interactions dominating, e.g., 40-hour work weeks often online in urban hubs like New York or Berlin, the pressure to conform to groupthink might stifle your intellectual dissent, echoing the story's note on cognitive ease and system justification. Yet Schopenhauer's solutions offer a lifeline. Embrace solitude to create, perhaps start a blog or podcast to share your insights, seeking like-minded communities in niche online forums or intellectual circles. Share your depth wisely, simplifying without losing substance, as Einstein advised, to connect with those ready to listen. Despite the digital age's challenges, your role as a deep thinker remains vital, pushing humanity forward through courage and authenticity, transforming isolation into a meaningful legacy in a world craving truth. The ending of Schopenhauer's story on intelligence as a curse leaves a tantalizing, open-ended note, inviting reflection rather than resolution. As the narrative builds to its climax, it hints at a transformative shift where deep thinkers, though historically rejected and isolated, begin to find solace and strength in their solitude, as Schopenhauer suggests, perhaps through a quiet moment of creative breakthrough or a meaningful connection with a like-minded soul. The mention of posthumous recognition for figures like Socrates and Turing teases a future where your own ideas might one day shape the world. Yet the story leaves this uncertain, sparking anxiety and hope. The call to action, embracing your depth, seeking the right audience, and sharing wisely, suggests a personal journey that continues beyond the screen, with no clear victory or defeat. Will you rise above the digital noise of 2025, forging a legacy amid resistance, or will the weight of isolation prevail? The final image might linger on a deep thinker standing alone, gazing at a horizon where light and shadow blend, symbolizing the ongoing struggle and potential for growth. leaving you to ponder your next step in this timeless battle between intellect and society.